All right, welcome to the Explainer. So, it looks like Canada is hitting a major reset button on its entire immigration system. Today, we're going to dig into the new official plan to figure out, what's actually changing, why now, and who's really going to feel the impact of all this.
Okay, let's just get right into it, because this is the question everyone is asking. You see the headlines talking about cuts and stabilization, and it's super easy to think, wait, is Canada just closing its doors? But the real story here is a lot more nuanced. It's not about shutting down, it's about a specific group, temporary residents. We're talking about folks in Canada on work permits, student visas, or as asylum claimants, not the people who are coming to stay for good.
And to really get a handle on what's happening, you have to look at this number. We're talking about a planned reduction of almost 290,000 new temporary residents in just 1 year. I mean, that is a massive drop. And that right there, that's the heart of the story. Canada is very deliberately and very hard pumping the brakes. So why the sudden dramatic change? Well, the government is framing this not really as a cut, but more like a course correction. They're calling it restoring balance, and their official reasoning for it is honestly pretty direct.
Yeah, I mean, the government's own report puts it pretty bluntly. They're basically saying that the pace of new arrivals just got way too fast, and it started putting immense pressure on everything: housing, healthcare, schools, you name it. The core message is that the system, as it was, just wasn't sustainable anymore, not for the newcomers and not for the communities trying to support them. And this chart, wow, it really shows you the scale of that growth we're talking about. In just 6 years, the percentage of temporary residents in Canada's population more than doubled. Think about that. That explosive increase is exactly the trend the government is trying to slam the brakes on. The goal now is to get that number back down below 5% by the end of 2027.
So, how exactly is the government planning to pull this off? Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the new blueprint. Who gets to come to Canada? And, just as important, under what new conditions? Okay, first up, let's talk about permanent residents. The people coming to Canada to build a life here for good. The plan is to stabilize these numbers at 380,000 a year for 3 years straight. But here's the key thing to watch. It's not just about that big total number. It's about the mix of people within it. And if you look closely, the economic category is actually set to grow a little bit. And this chart really paints a picture of that shift. By 2027, economic immigrants, we're talking skilled workers, entrepreneurs, are on track to make up almost 2/3 of all new permanent residents. The government is saying this is the highest that proportion has been in decades. It's a super clear signal that the focus is shifting squarely onto the labor market. So while permanent residency is getting rebalanced toward the economy, the biggest changes, the really dramatic ones, are happening in those temporary streams. This is where the numbers just jump off the page and tell a story of a massive shift. Just look at this. The number of new international students, it's going to be cut by almost half. We're going from a target of over 305,000 in 2025 down to just 155,000 in 2026. That is a huge, huge change for Canada's entire education sector. And, it's a pretty similar story for temporary workers. The target for new arrivals there is getting slashed by more than a third. So it's pretty obvious, right? The government is using these two streams, students and temporary workers, as the main levers to get a handle on population growth. So what you're seeing here is really two sides of the same coin. The squeeze on new students and temporary workers coming from overseas, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's a very deliberate move to free up focus and resources for the groups they are prioritizing. And who are they? Skilled economic immigrants, Francophone newcomers, and, this is a big one, the talent that's already here, working inside Canada. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. This plan isn't just about restrictions. It also creates a pretty big carrot for people who are already living and working in Canada. So, while it's getting tougher to come in from the outside, the government is rolling out new, one-time initiatives designed to keep the talent that's already in the country. So, starting in 2026, the government is launching 2 major temporary programs. The first one is aimed at clearing a backlog of protected persons, giving them a direct path to becoming permanent residents. And the second one, it's a brand new program designed specifically for skilled workers who are already here. And this is the number that has everybody talking: 33,000 spots. over 2 years, all dedicated to fast-tracking skilled temporary workers to permanent residency. It's a crystal clear signal of that new in-Canada focus. It's about rewarding the people who are already here, already integrated, paying taxes and contributing to the economy.
You bet immigration consultants jumped all over this language. The key word they're all pointing to is transition. What this is, essentially, is a proposed TR to PR style plan, a temporary resident to permanent resident pathway. It's being framed as a special one-time shot for people with work permits. Though we should be clear, the exact details on who's eligible, we don't have those just yet.
So if there's one crucial takeaway from all of this, it's that Canada isn't closing its doors. Not at all. It's recalibrating. The whole new philosophy is about control, focusing on the economy, and making the system sustainable. It's a big shift away from just a numbers game to a much more selective system, one that prioritizes people who can integrate quickly and, of course, the talent that's already in the country. Look, this entire policy shift is designed to fix today's problems, the pressures on housing and services. But it definitely leaves us with a huge question about the future. Will this laser focus on economic selection and in-country talent actually build a stronger, more resilient economy? Or will it fundamentally change the very character of a nation that's been defined for so long by its open doors? I guess only time will tell.